Thank you very much, and greetings to yourself and to the listeners. No, we're here back at Western Cape Airport in Court 19 to argue about the fuel levy increase that the minister is attempting to increase tonight. It's the same process. So the same argument still holds. The one that we argued about the VAT, that the minister does not have powers to increase the VAT. Those powers they lie with the parliament. The minister is a member of the executive, and us on the legislature side, we are the ones that actually enact and make the laws in the country. So the minister is encroaching on the powers that he does not have, the powers of the legislature. So he wants to increase the fuel levy tonight, which is the 4th of June. What is interesting is that in his replying affidavit, he says he concedes that those powers lies with the legislature, which is parliament. But it's precisely our question: where do you get the powers? So he has answered himself in his replying affidavit that actually those powers lies with the members of parliament, which today, as we are speaking, the Standing Committee on Finance and the Select Committee on Finance will be deliberating on the budget that he has tabled. But a decision will not be made. The voting of the report is happening in the committee tomorrow. So if the minister is increasing, it's increasing based on what? But even if the committee was to agree, the report must still go back to the National Assembly and go back to the NCOP, which is only happening on the 11th of June. By that time, the minister would have already gotten revenue by increasing the fuel levy on the 4th of June. What is also more interesting is that he says the legislation will come in under the taxation law amendment bill, which is to be tabled in October this year. So between June and October, nothing will be happening, but the minister wants to collect revenue from the fuel levy. So in his own replying affidavit, he concedes that he actually doesn't have these powers. And then the way he's so confused, he now wants to bring in the Department of Minerals, Resources and Energy and say actually they increase the fuel price. We don't dispute that. Their role goes as far as increasing the fuel price when it relates to the oil price internationally. So there are various factors that makes the price of fuel in the country. One of them is the basic price of fuel, which is determined by the oil price internationally, and then you'll have the taxes, which is the fuel levy, which is the RAF levy, and well, this one is zero rated, very zero rated, so it doesn't have. And then you'll have the wholesale price, and those components forms the price of fuel in the country. So what he's talking about is not what we are talking about. He introduced a tax in the form of a fuel levy. It's not one, it's not the Minister of Minerals, Resources and Energy, and two, it's not a regulation of an international oil price. This one is a national tax enforced squarely on the national tax. And that's why we're bringing in Section 77 of the Constitution, which is very clear that any national tax that is being introduced must follow the Money Bills Act, which the minister has not done.
3 years ago, they adjusted the fuel levy 3 years ago. Did that process follow similar? Did that not follow a similar process to the minister's process now?
You know, the fact that you were abused 5 years ago or a year ago, and then this perpetrator wants to abuse you again, doesn't give him the right to abuse you. So the fact that we didn't challenge it at that time, it's immaterial. The VAT kept on being increased within this period of EFF being in Parliament until this year that we questioned it and we asked court for a relief, and the court gave us that relief. So that argument falls off, because the same process of the VAT, somebody could have argued that we've never questioned VAT before. Oh, of course we never, but we're questioning it now, and the court has agreed with us. The same with the fuel levy. I've been abused before. I chose not to report the case to the police, but the fact that I'm choosing now to report it to the police does not make it any immaterial. So it's still a point that the court needs to deliver it on. And we're saying we are fighting for the people of South Africa not to have this fuel increase, which the minister wants to introduce through a regulation, which are the powers that he does not have. It's not a behavioral issue. It's a national tax that is contained in the constitution of this country, and it's got clear on what you need to do if you want to introduce such a tax.
And just quickly, as far as Part A is concerned, stopping tonight's adjustment, how confident are you that the court will see the urgency and not wait a few days and letting it kick in at midnight?
So we had to interdict for the minister not to increase it today. So if we look at the trail of events, the minister tabled his budget on the 21st of May, which was a Wednesday. On Friday, the Standing Committee on Finance, together with the Seated Committee on Finance, we met. And we made our inputs, and we came out very strongly as the EFF that we reject the fuel levy. And we gave the reasons why. The minister was in that meeting, so he was made aware in that meeting. And we gave alternatives of what should be introduced to circumvent this situation that they call a shortfall. That was a Friday. The minister did not respond to us. The following week, on a Tuesday, we wrote a letter to the minister, which to this day, today is the following Tuesday, still haven't gotten a response, except an acknowledgement of receipt of the letter. In that letter, we stated it categorically clear that we reject the fuel levy, and we gave reasons why we reject the fuel levy. And once again, we gave alternatives of where the minister can go and get that additional revenue. He has not responded to that. The minister was supposed to issue a government gazette, a notice, immediately after tabling of the fiscal framework and revenue proposals. He chose not to. And he only issued it yesterday. So who actually delayed him? Because we waited for the government gazette, because what the minister says and what actually gets action are two different things. Maybe the minister, after having the discussions with us in the Standing Committee of Finance, he retreated and decided not to go ahead with the fuel levy increase. So what could have dictated us to come to this court? We waited for the minister to table, to gazette that notice, which he didn't. But in that waiting, there was a letter sitting in his table, which gave him 48 hours. And when he did not respond to us in 48 hours, we immediately kickstarted the legal process, because we could see that the minister is playing delay tactics with us. He has not issued the gazette. He's not responding to our letter. It's a clear sign that he's playing delaying tactics. So imagine if the minister had issued, as he has issued yesterday, where we're supposed to wait until yesterday to file papers. Then the court was going to say, but then you are late. So we sensitized court last week already, on Thursday, when the minister did not respond to us, that hang on, there is a matter here, that we see that we are heading for a deadlock, and perhaps we can seek intervention from the court, which is what we did.
This time around, just in conclusion, the only party fighting this. The DA seems to be fine differently. They were vehemently opposed to the VAT increase. They were in the same court with the EFF, as a winning party. And why do you see that most parties now are almost okay with this move by the minister?
I wouldn't want to speak on behalf of other parties. I'm not a member of any other party except the Economic Freedom Fighters. But it is their choice. After all, they sit in the GNU. And even you listened to their interviews after the budget speech, they were quite okay with what has been tabled. So we're not surprised that they are not here with us. They are not our partners, so we didn't expect them to be with us. We are on the side of the poor. We are on the side of the marginalized people. The same condition that prevailed 2 years ago, that made this government not to increase the fuel levy, actually now in 2025 we're worse off. So if you didn't increase fuel levy in 2023 because of the conditions then, why do you increase them now when we are worse off? 18.2 million people rely on the grants of Godongwa as government. And you want to increase the fuel levy, which is going to affect, in the main, 18.2 people plus the working class. So it's very unfortunate, more so that we've given the minister a variety of options of where to go and get this additional revenue, which he has declined. But what is more painful is that even SARS, which said there is 800 billion rands that could be unlocked if I'm given just an additional money to go and get it. So imagine if SARS was to be given the 4 billion that they're asking for, and they come and unlock just 10% of that 800 billion. That is 80 billion rands. Far much more than what the minister will get with this fuel increase. Because from this fuel increase, he says he's only going to get 3.5 billion. 3.5 billion versus 80 billion. And with that 3.5 that you want to take from the poorest of the poor, what will be the socio-economic impact of those people once you've increased the fuel levy? So the minister really is out of his breath. Even in his replying affidavit, he was very emotional, very arrogant, and he did not put up a legal case to back up his claim that he has got the powers. Instead, he was just venting on ideological issues, political issues, but we were interested in the law. Which law gave you powers? To this day, he has not pointed out to us that law. It can be that it's a Customs Tax Act that gave him the effect. It's wrong. It's not a regulation, it's a national tax that he's introducing, and he knows it very well.
Thanks, Teacher.